Welcome to another episode of The Lord's Delight. Today, I want to talk about surprising things that the God uses to talk to us. What do I mean by that? I am a person who's, I think, most of the time very analytical and right brained and thinks of tasks and looks at the world in things that need to be done, not done kind of way. And last week, I had the opportunity to participate in explore your life through a painting thing. The first thing that came into my mind was this sounds so woo woo. Like, what do you mean explore your life through art? And I do have a disclaimer, I am not good at being creative in terms of coloring or painting. I mean, I can't even draw a stick figure straight. That bad, okay? So, what surprised me was when I went there and I, based on the instruction of the person who was guiding us, started to draw. It changed my outlook of what I was thinking. I was actually thinking, how in this context would this be used for God to talk to me? It's such a bunch of colors and a canvas. But you know what? It was surprising that God used that to talk to me. I underestimate a lot of times the value of art and beauty that God has created and how He uses that to speak to us. So that actually challenged me. Some of the questions she asked when she started talking about think of the one thing that you don't have, what would your life look like if you had it, and just use colors as an answer. And hence, there is no equipments, like there was a sponge and Q-tips, and she was like, go ahead, do it in abstract way, just don't draw objects. I was surprised at the outcome, like when she had all these questions and I finished. When I looked at a painting, one, it looked like a painting, and two, when I saw the colors, I could see what I meant. I could remember what each correlated to, and that also surprised me because now the painting has a meaning and only to me. I, as the author of the painting, know what each color meant and what it meant that I brought it all together in certain kind of shapes. That also made me realize we are puzzles to so many people, but our maker, our author, we are his masterpiece, and he understands us and he sees the little things in us, the quirks, and he knows why he put that in us. But I digress. That's not the point. What I wanted to say was sometimes I do miss the beauty that God has around me. So this incident made me realize God can talk to me using things that I think are not of much value. The second time it sort of touched me was after this I started to observe the nature around me on my walk to college and back home. And where I live here, the fall has come and you can actually see the trees changing colors so beautifully. The trees that were green, most of them have changed to either yellow or red. They haven't started turning brown quite yet, but I can see that beauty all the way when I walk. It just brings me wonder that God uses a lot of things which I value less. I'm like, beauty, what is the purpose of it? Art, what is the purpose of it? He uses that to talk to me. So what do you value less or look at it like, what is the purpose of this being here? I think back to the verse in Proverbs. Proverbs 6:6-8 talks about the ant. It tells to the sluggard or a lazy person, go look at the ant and how it plants and saves and harvests food for the time to come. It says learn from them. And not just that, he even uses, how many times Bible is using grass to get a point across? And it talks about how in Isaiah 48, the grass withers, the flower fades. Our life is like that, but the word of the God stands forever. So there is so many little things that we pass on a daily basis that God uses to talk to us. Are we opening our eyes and our hearts and our ears to listen to those things that He's trying to tell us through these ordinary things that we do not find that we need to be focusing on or wonder about, be in awe about? He's using them to talk to us. The same with people. The people we think, what can we learn from them? If you look at it on the surface, without telling the name, I'll describe a lady. Do you think you can learn from her? It is a Bible character, but it says she was fighting infertility and then she had a kid. This is like the whole story. But when we say that, we think, oh, that is so many people in today's world. What are we to learn from that? But if we head to 1 Samuel chapter 1 verses 2 to second chapter towards the end, we actually see how God uses this ordinary woman to talk to so many people out there today. Is that not relevant for today? But there is a story of one such woman, and similarly, there is also so many characters like that in the Bible we cover. Some of them are unnamed characters. A tiny portion where the midwives who helped the Hebrew people while they were in Egypt, Shipra Pua, and the widow who helped other widows, Dorcas. There are so many little characters in the Bible that we just glance over. Phineas, the teen, whom God calls a guy who is zealous for my name as me. What an honor. But these are people who occur in little pieces that we a lot of times sort of glance over, and they have such lessons to teach us. Even Jabez in the Bible, in the Chronicles, his prayer is there for like 2 to 3 lines in between, tucked inside the genealogies. But what a prayer and what a lesson to learn. And then think of Joseph, a teenager who was betrayed by his own brothers, sold into slavery, went as a refugee, not even a refugee, he went as a slave to another country. But we have so much to learn from a teenager who was persistent from when he was 16, 17 to till he was 30, and even in his, going on to his 30s and 40. A teenager who was so persevering. Do we underestimate the teenagers of today? The people in our we see who as young teenagers. But the Bible uses so many young people and people whom we don't think of in today's world as looking up to. We learn so much lessons from them. So this is what I want you to do this week. Ask God about some area, some person, something that you looked on upon. So a lot of times you don't even have to ask God. You'll probably know. And the challenge is for you to find out what God is trying to tell you through that thing that you don't value that much. Try and find out. It'll be very interesting because God used this painting thing to talk to me regarding what was in my heart, which it brought out so apparently, which I was dodging for a while. Now it's in front of my face and I have to deal with it. A lot of times I feel like that ignoring of, at least for me personally, the ignoring of art or beauty was also beauty in terms of nature. I'm not just talking about somebody looking pretty. So that art form, I guess it's because it brings emotions to the surface, which I try to keep under wraps. It brings it to the forefront and I'll have to deal with it. Maybe that is what he's trying to teach me. I want you guys to go find out what God is trying to tell you from the thing that you don't think is either worth your time or you think a little less of. So that's it for today. I'll talk to you guys next week.